Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea Radio, where we interview awesome singer-songwriters and those who influence their lives. Spill the Tea Radio explores the journey, creativity, and inspiration behind the songs. My next guest was born in Scarborough, Ontario, and now based in Ottawa. She is a Juno Award-winning vocalist who loves putting her own signature on classic songs. She's opened for John Legend, Tony Bennett, and Willie Nelson, and has had a record deal with Universal Music and Publishing, along with now releasing music on her own label, Enliven Media. So, let's spill the tea with Kellylee Evans. Welcome, Kellylee.
Thanks so much for having me, David.
Kellylee, I want to talk about the record deal because I ask a lot of indie artists, is the dream to have a record deal?
Yeah.
And many of them say yes. I've talked to a lot of artists who have had record deals. Some of them have good things to say about it. Some of them have bad things to say about it. Some of them have very ugly stories to tell. What was your experience with because Universal has been around for a long time. They're a
Yeah.
major player in the recording business. What was your experience with a record deal? Not necessarily calling out Universal for anything, that they may or may not have done, but what was your experience in having a record deal with a big player in the business?
Yeah, I think like it satisfied a lot of of my dreams, Like as you say, growing up, that's the thing. Like you want to have the label deal. I already knew what it was like working on my own. I knew I had made two or three albums before that deal. I knew what it was like to work with like the next level up. So I worked with Plus Loin, which was a label that no longer exists today. But with the work that they did, I won my first Juno. So I had like a Juno nom as an indie artist. I won as an artist on a smaller label. And then I've had a nomination as a major label artist as well. And I have to say, like, all the things that you think can happen will happen. Like I was blessed with like a much bigger reach, like this ability to be in spaces that maybe wasn't able to do on my own. Having a team of people to help you with publicity and help you with like the finer details. Because like this year I put out two albums as an indie artist. One of all originals, the second of my like a winter song, which has an original song on there, but also has 10 songs written by others. And all the aspects, like just getting the rights to the songs,
Hmm.
organizing everything. Like it is something special to have like a label, whether it be a smaller label or a bigger label, there to help you so that you're not on your own. And there's things that come with being with a larger, with another entity, like needing to request permission to record or to be on
Hmm.
other projects. There are more people at the table, so there are more people to have an opinion on like how many songs or whether to include these songs or not, what your image might look like, what things, like you're doing. But I have to say, like, for the most part, I had a good experience with Universal France. They were really good to me.
So knowing what you know now
Yeah.
about working with a major label and
Mm,
a young budding artist were to come up to you and say, Kellylee, or ask you, Kellylee,
yeah.
what should I watch out for? What should I be looking for? What would you do differently in a deal with a major label that I should watch out for?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a major label thing, and I don't even know if it's like an artist thing. I think it's again, it's a human thing. Like I think we need to take care of ourselves. We need to look out for the signs that we're not doing well, whatever industry you're in, you know? Running yourself to the ground makes no sense in any industry. And I think there's a narrative that so many of us get into, like the show must go on, no matter what we're doing, right?
Right.
Like I have friends who are doctors who are working crazy hours, but why would I want to be operated on by a doctor who hasn't slept in 24 hours. Do you know what I mean? I don't. Right? It doesn't help, right? People driving trucks, people driving Ubers and like just trying to make ends meet because this of the sense of like they just can't stop. I don't want that in any industry. So for me, like if a young person comes up to me, and I see young people because I get to speak in schools and also like I'm still interacting with like my kids and their friends. And like if anybody were to ask me for my opinion, that's what it is. It's to take care of yourself,
I
and to
think
know the signs.
that's a sign of the times in our daily lives is that we don't because we're on all the time. Our phones are on all the time. Everything is right in our face that we just don't seem to have that we don't take the time to just turn off, shut down, and enjoy, those little things that are around us, which is very much what your song is about today that we're going to feature. You are of Jamaican descent. How has your Jamaican roots influenced your music, if it has influenced it at all?
I definitely think that you can hear my roots in my music, especially at this second last album. I was gonna say this last album, but in 2024, I put out two albums. Show Love came out in June, which was produced by Michael Shand, another fellow Jamaican, another fellow musician of Jamaican origin. And then Winter Song in December. And if you listen to Show Love, there's that Caribbean pulse through everything, like a sense of calypso and dancehall and reggae, but then also soul, the soul music that I was listening to growing up in the 80s and R&B and sometimes I know like I for Christmas I put out another two singles, one called Read the Stars and another one called Hear the Bells. And those have a country feel to them. Like I don't feel like I need to be stuck anywhere. My mom had a record of the month club and
Right,
those
I remember
albums would
those.
show
Yeah,
up. You remember that?
I remember those.
Boxcar Willie, Barbara Mandrell, Willie Nelson. I grew up watching the Grand Ole Opry and all those things and I fell in love with music, period.
You do have some musical background in your grandma was in a choir, and you do have some musical background there as well. How has your family influenced you as far as music? I know your mom gave you a very, I'll call it a country name. Kelly Lee
Kelly
is,
Lee,
Kelly Lee Evans sets you up for, the Charlie Pride country music tour for sure.
for sure.
Um, and how were the influences? What were the influences from your mom and your grandma, and how did they influence your music career?
Well, for my mom, it was definitely just like her absolute love of music. Like music was playing all the time, the radio, she had a record player. She upgraded to like a nice little sound system as soon as she could. After we'd go get her paycheck every 2 weeks, and then we'd head to the record shop and buy albums. So I never had a moment when music wasn't a part of what we were doing. And then for my nan, like when I would visit her in England, the few times that I went, I could see like her leading the choir, and being a part of music. And I'll tell you, she died in her 90s and was it her 90s or 80s? Trying to think, but she died of cancer. And I was there at the her deathbed. And the day before she passed, she led a choir practice from her
Wow,
bed.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, they were just around her bed having their rehearsal. It was just like she was not gonna give up her music. So yeah, I think music is just in the bones.
You have traveled a fair bit. You mentioned that as soon as you got your record deal or record label deal, you started traveling to France. what is the music vibe, or how is the music vibe different in Europe and in particular France compared to Canada or the United States where you went to?
I could have a show on a Monday or Tuesday, and it would be as full as it could be on a Friday or Saturday.
Hmm.
Do you see what I'm
That
saying?
that's crazy.
It's
That's
crazy,
crazy.
right? Like there's nothing like I remember when I first saw that when they would book like a show on a Monday, I would be like, well, who's gonna come? You know? Like who's coming out on a Monday? Because for us, like, concerts are usually like Thursday, maybe Sunday,
Maybe.
but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that's it. And it's just this like it's a space where people are really enamored with the arts and artists. And there's like I don't want to say a reverence, but there is a certain respect and love for artists that is palpable.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's really a special place to travel. Quebec feels like that too. Like when you go to a concert in Quebec, like you definitely like the care that they put with the sound and lights just seems like next level. Like you'll be in like this little venue and they've got festival style like the lights are flashing, they got the smoke, and I'm like, whoa, you know? It's just it's amazing. Yeah, and I think it's something that starts really young.
Hmm.
I know that when I was there, I'm not sure if this is still the case now, but there was like day of the week that kids were not in school. They were out getting their lessons, they would be learning about the music. So that's one of the things that I think makes it possible. Like you'll go to a concert and talk to people at the end, and they're accomplished pianists, accomplished violinists. Like they also play music. They decided not to do music as a career. They're now a lawyer or whatever. But the way that they appreciate the music is different. And even like when they talk about classic albums, like they can name the person that was like mixing it. And do you know what I mean? Like the level of fandom for music on a whole is different. Yeah.
Well, we were talking earlier about switching off and enjoying your life. Did you find when you were in Europe and in France, it's a different appreciation
Yeah.
for life that
Yeah.
some people say, we live to work and Europeans work to live.
To live.
And I wonder in France as well, did you find that people were able to enjoy their life more through the arts, through family, just enjoying each other's company?
100%. And I also like I'm gonna after this I have a couple more things to do and then I'm shutting down for 3 weeks for my break. And that is something that is not, you know, not something I'm used to doing. It's something that I learned from my colleagues in France. For them, it's something that happens in August. But this idea of like everybody shutting down around the same time and really taking time to be with family and how it's nationwide, so it's understood, it's expected. There's nobody that's shaming you for doing it or making you feel like you're lazy, or
Yeah.
should be. It's a really special energy. And it's funny, I was talking to the pianist who's on this album, Winter Song. His name is Steve Boudreau, and we were just driving from a gig this weekend, and I can't say the country that he was talking about. It's maybe Finland or someplace in Europe, but he was saying that they didn't call it a vacation, they called it recovery, you
Rec-
know? And I was like, I love that, because it's like a time to like plug in your batteries and recharge so that you can like get up and do this again. Like,
Yes.
and I never really learned that so much. It's funny because I used to watch my mom. She would, she never went and took a trip anywhere, like she didn't, like she did what we would call today staycation,
Hmm.
but she did it right. Like she wasn't like taking on a new project to clean this or like organize this, or you know what I mean? Like she would just rest. She would watch her soaps, get a little Y&R in, she would just do the stuff that she would do on a day off. And she was never also one of those people that would like work an extra day, like if she didn't have to. Like she really appreciated her time off. And I am, as I get older, I'm realizing like how, like I think at the time I was like, man, like you could start a business. Like she was she was good at cakes. She was good at making hot sauce. I was like, you should start this, you should do that. And she was like, no, I'm all right. I'm like, why don't you try to be manager at the, like at the hospital? Like she's like, no. She really liked to be able to leave her work at work and come home and watch her soaps, you know?
And nothing wrong with that.
Nothing
Kelly
wrong with
Lee,
that.
let's get into one of the songs that Kelly Lee wrote. This song is from an 11-track affair co-produced by Kelly Lee and Steve Foley. It is full of arrangements of classic tracks, including this original. Let's take a listen to singer-songwriter Kelly Lee Evans and her song, Winter Song.
The silent snow and moonlit glow, this crack of ice under my toes, the sound takes shape, the serenade of winter song. Ooh, we're miles away, yet love still stays through life's heartache, through seasons change, yet I awake to the serenade of winter song. This time I'm gonna last a little longer. I'll stay, and I'm gonna love a little longer this time I'm gonna last a little longer. I'll stay, and I'm gonna love a little longer Let's not erase this year's mistakes, then melt away the seal of fate when life awakes to the serenade of winter song. Oh, winter song. Winter song.
That was Winter Song by Kelly Lee Evans. Kelly Lee, tell us, what is the song about and what was the inspiration to write it?
Growing up, some of my earliest memories of my mom are like her taking me out on the ice. She was like from Jamaica. She came in the 60s. She didn't know how to skate, but she was there in her sneakers and she was just like pulling me along, trying to get me to be Canadian and to love winter. And I did my best, but I tell you, like, I was that cold. Like when that cold hit you, I was that kid that was like, please, can we have indoor recess, please? But as the years have gone by, like my boyfriend is so big on like gear. He loves gear. He's one of those people with like a fat bike and like riding in the winter. Uh, he just loves like that whole maxim like, oh, there's no bad weather, just bad gear. And so and so, like, yeah, last year we'd be out walking like in crazy weather and snow and rain. And it's true, like if you're done up properly, you can handle anything. So I've really come to love winter and the sounds of winter. And like the song is really talks about those sounds, the crackle of the ice and the way that the snow muffles your step, but like that crunch under your foot, and just the things that I would never, if you told me like years ago that I would appreciate winter, I'd be like, I don't think so.
Kellylee, how do people find out more about you and your music and where you are performing? What's the website, the socials, and the streaming platforms?
Well, you can come follow me at kellyleeevans.com. And I'm on all the socials, like on Instagram, Kelly Lee Evans Music, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X. Yeah, so just you can go to my website, which will lead you to all the others.
We have been in conversation with Kellylee Evans. Kellylee, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, David. Nice fun spilling the tea with you.